we have three, all from very different backgrounds, but with one thing in common, all from the younger generation of Qataris, helping to inspire people across this country. So let me introduce, first of all, Mohammed bin Abdullah Al-Thani, the first Qatari to climb Mount Everest. Lulwa Al-Marri, the first Qatari woman to complete an Ironman. And my beIN Sports colleague today, Mohammed Saadon Al-Kuwari. So thank you very much, all of you, for being here. I don't really know where the right place to start is, but one thing that I think probably you all have in common, do you all feel as if the way your life has travelled, that you are now role models for a new generation?
You asked me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, first of all, for hosting today. I'm not sure if I personally see myself as a role model, but I see myself as a person who have a dream and follows my dream. And I wake up every day chasing that dream. Whether it was a mountain or a personal target or whatever it is. And maybe the byproduct of doing that is inspiring people to reach their dreams, whichever they are.
But you must be aware now that because you've achieved what you have already, that now people are looking at you and taking inspiration, and you are giving people new dreams of their own.
Yeah, I wouldn't, the same as ثاني, I don't see myself as a role model because I don't think I am ideal person to follow in every aspect. But maybe an inspiration to always to fight for your dream. As a woman in Qatar, we still fight to chase our dream. We always suppress our dreams and settle for less. If I want to inspire anyone to actually chase your dream, whether dream of to be in the fashion world, dream to be in film production, Hollywood, dream to be the most top athletes, any dream is worth of living, and it will take first battle will take a lot of fight. So I want to inspire. If I have to inspire everyone, is every day wake up and fight until you start to see your dreams unfolding. For me, after achieving Ironman, it was still the first step into many steps of living my top dream. I want to reach Qatar to the top athletes world, and hopefully one day I can see Qatar in Olympic triathlon.
Do you think anyone ever feels comfortable with that tag of being a role model?
Well, I think my job was much easier than finishing Ironman or climbing Everest. I think was more fun. Playing tennis first and then being a TV presenter. For me, I look at it from a responsibility point of view. For me, it is a responsibility. I played tennis since I was 6 years old. I was able to represent Qatar when I was 12 years old in the first Gulf Cup for me, 1995. And from that time, it became a responsibility, carrying the flag of Qatar as a tennis player, and then as an entrepreneur, and then as a TV presenter, and now as a paddle international player is always a responsibility. And for me, the responsibility is not only achieving, what you achieve being on air or being in the court. For me, this responsibility is more of a lifestyle for the three of us, for you two, and for any influencer in different, sector. People will always look at you as an example, and it is a huge responsibility. For me, driving your car, wearing the seatbelt, driving safely is a responsibility. So it's something that you carry on every day, every time, because people will always have an eye on you.
I don't know where you find the time. I know how hard we have to work to do our job, and I find that's between work and your home responsibility. That's life. But then you add in playing paddle, being an entrepreneur, the responsibility of being an ambassador. When do you sleep?
Well, I sleep an average of 8 hours a day, so I sleep enough. Yeah. And I believe in the importance of sleeping, eating, and practicing. So I train very hard, I sleep well, and I eat well as well. Not as perfect as Muhammad, because I know he have a very strict diet and training system. But I have the time to do this. Plus, I believe in teamwork. So in every sector, I have a strong team. In my business, I have a very strong team that is helping me to achieve what I'm achieving. In TV, as you know, we are lucky to have a fantastic professional team at beIN Sports that is doing the best work, and that makes us quite comfortable when we go on air. Same with the training. I train with the best coaches in paddle. We have a coach called Ramiro Choya. He's one of the best 3 coaches in the world. He's from Spain. So again, it's a collective effort.
Let's get this down and let's break it into smaller parts. Mo, you have grown up in one of the flattest regions in the entire world. So why mountain climbing?
That question I get asked a lot, because I
It was
really
the
come
first
from
thing I thought
the
of, yeah.
I really come from the desert, and that's exactly what the person who told me I can't said. He told me that you come from the desert. How can you climb a mountain? And he inspired me to climb. He was a tour guide, so someone I didn't even know. He just told me like you can't do it, and he literally meant I can't do it. But I took it as a challenge. And he sparked that interest, and I said, okay, let me give it a go, let me try. I was always adventurous, I always tried to do something, and then that was back in 2009. And back then, like no one in Doha climbed any mountain. So I went to base camp, and Everest base camp, and took about 2 weeks to go to base camp, and it was the hardest thing I've done in my life. Like when I reached base camp, I said, that's it, I'm never going to climb again.
How long did it take you to go again?
Yeah, like 3 months later. 3 months later, I was on top of Kilimanjaro. And on top of Kilimanjaro, I said the same thing, this is it.
Alas.
Yeah, like no one believes me anymore when I say that.
Well,
but
that's probably because
yeah,
since then
11
you've
years
done
later,
7 peaks.
No, I did much more than that. I completed the 7 peaks challenge. I actually just came back from a volcano last week in Guatemala. So amazing coffee, by the way. I went climbing a live volcano. It's not too high, 4,000 meters, but it was amazing.
Well, you said that's not too high. To the rest of us, that seems pretty high.
Yeah, it's true. But you always scale up, like the first time I went to Everest Base Camp, it was the hardest thing I've done in my life. And then I climbed Kilimanjaro, then it became the hardest thing in my life. And then another mountain after that. But then today, if you tell me go to Kilimanjaro tomorrow, I'll just happily, climb up. I think this is life, whenever you accomplish a challenge, then the next one is the harder one. Mm-hmm. And when you do the harder one, then the one before seems easier.
But it all started from somebody saying,
you can't.
No, you can't.
It's like when you unlock your potential. That's one thing we say it. So you unlock new level of your potential.
I think there's no greater motivator than someone telling you you can't. That's for me personally. If someone tells me I can't, just watch me do it.
Was that similar when you? When did you have the idea?
I think I have same.
Why would you want to become?
It was Thani. He inspired me. I want to be the first to summit Everest. So I went to intensive training. And then when I was training more like triathlete, more than mountaineering. Because it was lockdown, mostly on treadmill, mostly on cycling. Because we're not allowed to go on hike and backpack. That's how you train for mountain. And then I was like, there's no women did full Ironman distance. I want to do it. So I did it with no shorter distance before. Like usually people start sprint, Olympic, half Ironman, and then they go for full. I just went for full.
Just from the start?
And when I was training for Ironman, I was dreaming of Everest. Like when I was running, it feels like I'm at the edge of giving up. I remember at least I'm on ground. If I want to stop, I can just walk. But if I'm climbing and the rope and harness, if I give up, it's life and death matter. So every time I want to give up, I remember that if I was on the Everest and it's life death matter, would I give up or I would hold on to the rope? Because my life rely on this rope. So I have to keep going. And that's my Ironman story.
Is it life and death? Going up a mountain?
Yeah, you hear about death stories every day on the mountain, we try not to talk about it or think about it, but it happens so many times. Like we lost so many friends. You see it every day, unfortunately. But like it's not about giving up. Sometimes accidents happen.
But mentally, then you must be incredibly strong, because if you're looking down, and in that way is death.
It's a long way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you?
You just look up. Don't look down.
Keep going.
Don't look down. Yeah. It's just like it's not a good analogy, but it's like looking at you're driving and you see a car accident. You know, it could be you, but you don't think of it that way. You know, you keep driving. It's the same way on Everest. Like when I was going up Everest, I had to cross dead bodies. Like someone who passed away 12 hours before I went up.
Wow.
And I had to cross over him because he was roped up on the same line. But you pass him, you go up, and you don't think of it.
How do you do that?
You just block. You just block. Because you need to go up and then you need to go down. So you can't think of these things. You can't be thinking this could be you.
But mentally, that must take
And
incredible
I feel like
strength.
that transfer skills, you can transfer it in lifestyle. Yeah, like you can see sometimes obstacle in life. I see it like his scenario for mountains. You can see it in life. Sometimes you see someone failing in business that are similar to you. I don't know if you guys into stocks or not. You see stocks are crashing, and it's emotionally you would think it's smart to sell your stocks, but you have to hold on and you keep going, keep, let's say, climbing, because you don't know where you're gonna end up. But if you give up, then you're gonna end up with people who lost.
Yeah.
That's how I would see like sport. When I meet people, I say always pick a sport that you're interested. Paddling, mountaineering, triathlon, runner, whatever sport that you are into, because you can see your transferable skills in sport in real life time.
Do you have to love what you do?
You have to have passion, but as he say, he's an entrepreneur. He's not just an athlete. And if you set in details, he will see his transferable skill in sport, in his career, in his lifetime.
Are there interchangeable skills between being a sportsman and a TV presenter?
Yeah, before that, I would like to say that I was privileged to know some mountain climbers like Mohammed Al-Thani, but also Farouk Al-Zaman, who was the first Saudi to climb Everest. And I was privileged to meet him. And I did a documentary, which was the final project of my master's degrees in London. And I met him, and I knew a lot back then, especially about the death zone, where you see a lot of dead bodies. Some of them 20, 30 years ago died, and they still almost the same because of the cold weather over there. So as he mentioned, and for me it was shocking, how can people pass these obstacles? But again, as she mentioned, this is part of life. For me, what I took from sport to journalism and then to entrepreneurship is the winning mentality and the way of facing difficulties, where we had in every match, sometimes you are losing and you need to flip the match around and then try to find solutions and try to win a match. Sometimes we played some difficult matches like Iran or Egypt, where the stadium is full and everyone is whistling against you. And again, when you go to life, you'll find these challenges everywhere. Me on the entrepreneurship part, I failed. I had to close some companies. I lost a lot of money, especially in the beginning. I had a sports factory, small factory here in Qatar, doing sports clothes, and was big failure. I lost around $500,000 Qatari riyal, which was almost everything I did in media. All the salaries I collected went into nothing. And this is part of life, and this is similar to, passing the dead body in going to mountain in the death zone. So again, life is different experiences that you can bring them sometimes together to achieve success.
Why did you do it? What part of you? And I don't mean this in almost an accusational way, but why did you set up these other companies? What drove you to do that? Because presumably you could have a very comfortable life working in television, be in sports, huge international company. What part of you wanted to do that as well?
Well, first of all, securing different revenue streams is always important for any human. Diversity is always needed. As you know, life is full of challenges. Today, maybe we are in quite comfortable zone, but as you know, with all the financial crisis, a lot of people lost their jobs. Not only in BN, in every entity in the world, even before the pandemic, and then with the pandemic, millions lost their jobs. So it's important to have and to secure different, revenue streams, but it's also the driver of success, trying to be unique, trying to be special, trying to be a good example for your kids, for your wife, for your family, for your nation. This was another driver. And coming again back from the sports background, you always see the golden medal. You always see the trophy. You always want to win. And I think I had this mentality in my entrepreneurship career coming from the sport.
So that's what I'm getting at, in that you didn't need to do that, but there's that willingness to take risk, which I sense is something that you probably all share, the willingness to put yourself out there, to take the chance, literally with life and death, climbing a mountain, to try and to go there. I mean, how many months did you have to train for the Ironman? I mean, if you went from a standing start in the middle of a pandemic, I mean, what that
took me 8 months. I started on New Year, and my race was in August.
Wow.
With the pandemic, with the lockdown of the gym.
And you work full time as well?
I work full time, yes. But I think that's what I wrote down. I think discipline.
Really?
So, because now I'm a single life, so I look at, let's say, if I want to inspire ladies, is doing Ironman is putting yourself in a discipline. Today, I don't have family that I look after, but I still yet to have to wake up 4 a.m., get myself my workout in before I'm going to work. If I was a mother, I need still to wake up 4 a.m. to look after my family. And that is discipline, and that's what I have to carry. And I fail many times. I will not tell you that every morning I wake up 4 a.m.
But what is failing?
Failing is, today I choose to be kind to myself, and I sleep more 1 hour. So, but I don't, but in life, I always say, you have to choose discipline. You have to choose discipline. It's not about being consistent. It's not about motivation, inspiration, because today I will inspire you. But are you disciplined to yourself? Do you have promise that you need to fulfill to yourself? Whether your dream, that I promise that I have this picture, I see myself as this woman in the future. You have to fulfill that promise. You have to wake up every morning and fulfill that promise. Did
you know you were going to complete the Ironman before you started?
Yes, I definitely 100%. Not because I'm trained enough, because I don't know if I trained enough. It was only 8 months. But I was so far from giving up. I'm committed. Before I started to swim, I was excited to meet my friends and tell them how beautiful experience is.
You say beautiful, but just if people don't know this, Ironman, it's 3.8 kilometers swim, 180 kilometers on the bike, and then a marathon, which is 26 miles or just
42.
over 42k. So this isn't something you just think, this will be fun. I mean, how long did it take you? It must have been 13
hours, yeah. But it was fun, because I was in the right atmosphere. And honestly, I would suggest, I even want to convince him, I don't know how I will. I want to convince you guys to try even short distance. Everyone should try. It is fun because you have to, I have this mentality of being my own company. I have to cheer myself, because you're not with your friends anymore. You're not allowed to listen to music, no broadcast, nothing. You're just by yourself, your mind and your demons.
Well, that's the rules of doing the
Yes, for sake of everyone's safety to call. And so your demons always come out. The water was cold.
Of course.
It was not about the distance, it's more a weather. Because the water was freezing cold. I have to swim 3 kilos in 2 hours almost in freezing cold water. I have to keep going.
And you did all the training in Qatar, where presumably the water was warm?
No, it was warm. It was hot water.
Here?
Yeah. It was too hot to the point my coach said, it's not safety. Like for you, it's not good for my skin, for hygienic purpose. But I was wearing wetsuit, and you know Wim Hof?
Yeah.
Iceman? Yeah, I used to watch his videos. So when I was swimming, I remember to control my panic mode, because I was in a panic mode, with my breathing, to control your mind, because your mind has so much power over your body. If my mind keeps telling me that I'm warm, your body, even if it's a lie and your body sensor all it's cold, your body get warmer than usually. So I always tell myself like, no, this is like jacuzzi. I am in jacuzzi. This is
a jacuzzi with like 50, 60 people all splashing around you at the same time.
Yeah, it's so cold, and you get like, even if someone flip and you can feel their air and you can smell fish. I saw dead rats swimming next to dead rats. I have to keep going, and I have to imagine things. Like I have to tell myself like, no, this is so much fun. I love it. It's so nice. I'm enjoying.
What was the elation like when you completed it? Is that similar to climbing a mountain? Is when you hit the peak, when you finish?
The peak is you have to worry about coming down, because I did also Kilimanjaro. You don't just summit and you finish. No, it's not like that. It's different.
Reaching the top is halfway.
Yeah, it's just halfway.
So is that the ultimate rush, or is that when you get down?
I'm not sure where the rush is. I'm still struggling with that. But maybe like most people, what they see a picture on the summit. They see a finisher's picture. They see a picture on the paddle court, or Muhammad maybe in the studio. But no one knows how much heart, blood, tears went into that. So Lulwa, like the reason I don't do triathlons is I know how much work it is. 4 a.m. is maybe half of the work, because you need to like train 4 or 5 hours a day. You have to learn how to be excellent in swimming, running, and cycling. Not one sport. And the same thing with paddle. To be an international player, like I'm sure his background.
At this age.
And this, we're still young.
We're older generation.
I'm sure the tennis background helped a lot, but it still takes a lot of effort and time and dedication, and that comes with sacrifice. That means time away from family. That time takes away time from your business, from your work, and it's all a matter of sacrifice, dedication. A picture on the summit is just it's like a memory, you know. It's like it's a finisher's T-shirt, you know. Yeah. But what really means a lot is what it took for that picture to happen, and that's what counts. So to get back to your question, basically what makes everything worth it is that picture, but what went behind it is what makes it count.
That only you know. Do you get that anymore in a TV studio? Does that give you the same rush as being on a court?
This is what I wanted to speak about. Lulwa mentioned the consistency. And I think that the issue and the real challenge for all of us is the consistency. Because people will always have expectations from you. If you do something good, they will never expect less. If she did Iron Man, they will ask what's next. This is the issue. And
I think actually on my questions that's pretty much coming up soon.
Yeah, and the problem is you have to keep the same standards, either better or you stay at least where you are. And this is the problem, for example, with TV. TV is non-ended thing, right? You do a Premier League today, and then there's a Premier League next season, and then the season after, and it continues. There's a World Cup in 2022, then 26, and then 30, and then it goes on. And the problem, the people saw you, for example, in 28 covering the European Championship in Austria and Switzerland, will continue watching you in the World Cup in Qatar 2022. And they will never accept something less than what you achieved in 2028. They will never accept a mistake. They will never accept you pronouncing Harry Kane's name wrongly. They want everything to be perfect because they think we paid beIN Sports to watch you. So you have to be at the peak of what you are doing. And it's not only in TV, it's everywhere else. It's in entrepreneurship, in sport, in whatever you do. If you reach a high level, then you have to stay there. You have to maintain. So consistency for me is the real challenge for every successful person.
Because with television, touch wood, nobody dies. You know, you don't fall off. But it's a real difficult line to cross because there are difficult questions to ask, but you need to maintain those relationships with your guests. You also need to keep a public image, and you need to, and people have been watching you for over a decade now. So where do you find that line? How do you find that consistency to ask the difficult questions, to maintain the relationships? Is it something that you're always thinking about?
In my WhatsApp status, I choose at school. So for me, I think this is the right thing to answer your question, is first of all to believe that you are always at school, you keep learning and you keep improving. The biggest problem for most of the world stars is the arrogancy. And being arrogant for me is the end of the career of any person. So for me to keep learning and to keep improving is important. And then what is important is to feel the importance of the role. Being a TV presenter is exactly being number 9 in the football pitch, where everyone is working hard from the goalkeeper till the playmaker to the wings to give the ball to the striker to score a goal. So, and this is for me is a pressure as well, because it's the confidence of everyone. You know, for me, for example, sometimes I used to invite some friends to be in sports, and when they see the number of the crew sitting in the gallery, they are shocked. Wow, 40, 50 people working. I said, yes, but you only see me and you see my guests and you see these stars, you see 4 to 5, but there are 1,000 people working behind. So for me, you have to feel that you are representing all of those people. So you have to be always at your peak. You have to work hard, you have to prepare, you have to do your research, and then you have to be always at the best of your version.
And then on top of that, you have the public image, you have the respect of people watching you, which, is that always on your mind? I know you take social media very, very seriously. Do you take that, do you feel a sense of responsibility?
Yes, and I think in the past 10 years, even more than before. I started my media career back in 2003. And during the past 5-6 years, with the political situation, with all the conflict, with the issues, with the blockade, with the problems in the region, I started to feel even more responsibility, because some people don't know a lot about my country. For example, in Saudi Arabia, which is 40% of my social media followers, more than 1 million, there was a conflict between the two countries. So I had a very sensitive and important role to show a good example of my country. A lot of people, they are into sport, but they are not into politics. So they will always see this Qatari presenter working on beIN Sports and then follow him in social media and then react based on my actions. So for me, it's a very sensitive and important role. Not only me, anyone that is famous for me needs to be an ambassador for his country.
And for yourself?
Yes, for yourself, for your family. Muhammad is from the royal family, and a lot of people think the royal family member doesn't need to work because he's from the royal family. And that's, for me, brings a huge value of the success he did, reaching, Mountain Everest, and not that, being the first Qatari to reach, Everest. Lulwa same is coming from a very well respected and huge family where maybe she didn't need to do Ironman. But again, it's, the goals and the success you personally want to reach, avoiding anything else, your last name or your origin or your nationality or your salary. It's way beyond that.
Is that fair? Does your name help or hinder when you're looking for what's next?
I don't think that's related. I've never seen my name to be anything to do with what I do, what I'm passionate about, and that's in terms of the businesses I get into or the hobbies I do, and actually that's one of the reasons I climb, because when you're on the mountain, no one cares who you are, No one comes up to you and tells you, let me help you carry your bag, or no one comes, if you're out of water, tough luck, No one's gonna come and help you out. And I think that helps you remember who you really are.
You must have seen more of the planet than 99.9% of us. Has it changed your perspective on life?
Well, let me tell you this. When I started climbing in 2009, I've done so many things in my life, so many adventures. I traveled the world. I'm sure, have you heard of Gumbo 3000, the car rally?
Yeah.
I've done it 6 times. I've done every adventure you think of, I signed up for. And then I climbed, and then I got slapped in the face with reality.
Really?
You really understand. If anyone thinks they know the world or how the world works, or just go climb a mountain. Because when you get stripped of everything that you think is important in life, and you're stuck in a tent for 13 days or 15 days in a storm, just you and one other person, and you have no idea if you're going to come back or not, and you just have the food in front of you, and then you'll know what life means.
Did you ever feel like you weren't coming back? Did you ever feel like this?
So many times, yeah. I'm not sure if you want to say it on camera.
Really? And did it scare you?
Look, I know my sport, and I know the risks that come with it. Of course, I try my best to maximize my safety measures, but at the end of the day, I'm climbing a mountain, and if something goes wrong, something goes wrong. The higher you go in terms of mountains, you know, and some of them are very technical, you know, it comes with risks as well. So you have to be okay with whatever risks come with it, and it comes with any sport or anything you do in life.
Do you think it's given you a greater respect for the planet?
Well, the greatest value, like I got in the mountain, is appreciation. You know, you appreciate every little thing in life. You know, and, for example, Kilimanjaro, Lulwa climbed it, the ice cap. I'm not sure if did you see snow on the top?
Yeah, it's melting.
It's melting, and I can see it myself because I climbed Kilimanjaro the first time in 2010, and then the last time 2 years ago. And you can see, like 2010, there was snow everywhere. Now the ice cap is melting. And once it's gone forever. And that's...
I think they have deadline for 2 more years.
Yeah.
Because 2023 is where it's going to be turning. Because Kilimanjaro is more, it's levels. So you're going to go through many levels. But then it's going to be mono level as year come by. If we don't rush, I think it's too late to...
In a few years, there'll be no more ice in Africa, basically. So the only place that has snow in Africa is Kilimanjaro, and that's going
It's
forever.
melting, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, as a people, across the world, I mean, you've been everywhere, do you feel like this is now something that everybody is aware of? And even what we had Cup 26 last month, even His Highness the Emir was there.
Yeah.
Leaders of countries now all getting together to actually try to find a solution, trying to make a difference.
But I think the better question would be, what are we doing about it? You know, because we all know about the global warming, we all know about how we're putting our Earth in danger, but what are we doing about it? That's the question. You know, like unfortunately, most of us, and me included, like we could do better. You know, like we can do much more to make Earth a better place. I heard a study about like in the next amount of years, we'll have to choose between clear air or clean water, and which one would you choose? You know, because it'll be one or the other. You can't have both. And for me today, I can't choose. But like, I think this is like in 200 years, you'll have to choose one, unless we change everything today. And that, like, just that thought scares me.
Do you think we are doing enough as a human race? Do you think we are changing quickly enough?
I think with the power of social media, people are more on calls for this awakening. I see Sheikh Mayasa is doing campaign every Saturday. They clean the beach, and before, like 5 years ago, I don't get any calls like from my friends saying, "Oh, let's do something for environment on weekend." Usually, it's a selfish weekend for themselves. But I do see some changes where, on let's say on the weekend, we choose Saturday, where you get calls. Let's do something. Let's clean, let's recycle. Also now they're opening a market in Qatf Foundation where they say, let's cycle something and then let's sell it. So it's a little project now. It's nice to see the young generation are awakening and realizing this, but we need a greater impact, we need a greater change, and greater minimalize on something that is one use, like small plastic bottle. So this is small things, but it is actually has a greater impact on our overall environment. Like a plastic straw, you see it as something very small, but it has big role when it comes to sea pollution. So if every individual think they matter and their action matter, we can actually change. I mean, it will not be a significant change, but still will be a great change for a better future. Is
it generational, do you think, as we get younger?
As he mentioned, we have responsibility. So you just have to do your calling. So you have to do your calling as posting, mentioning, saying any basic things like, you guys, let's choose Tuesday not to use anything plastic. Just Tuesday, no plastic. And you remind them every Tuesday, no plastic. Tuesday, no plastic. Thursday, let's go vegan. Saturday, let's go beach and clean. You just do your little calls through social media, and you have greater impact than you think. Great influence. Even you, that you think you're very normal. No, you're not. If we think we are matter, we can work together, and then we can do a greater impact together. Because we all matter at the end.
Of course, we all have to do our bit.
I think the World Cup is a fantastic example of sustainability. I remember Rayan Stadium, Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, was built by 92% of the wastage of the previous stadium. So I think sustainability is there in most of the projects. This version of the World Cup will be the first, World Cup without a carbon print. So I think the country worked very hard to show a good example through the World Cup projects of sustainability. And speaking about the World Cup, I think this entity, this zone is giving a fantastic example. I'm talking about Aspire Zone, having the largest park in the country with more than 80,000 square meters. And for me, as an athlete and also as an entrepreneur, Aspire is the dream of lands. I mean, land of dreams, because I always, was dreaming to do my own project, and I was able, through Aspire, to achieve that dream, building the biggest indoor paddle club in Asia and Africa here in Aspire. So I really would like to thank Aspire for trusting in athletes and entrepreneurs to continue what they are doing. The value they are giving to the community is huge. Everything you can do here when it comes to playing football, running, swimming,
therapy,
preparing for Ironman, physiotherapy, having aspetar. So
climbing too.
Really?
They have a climbing wall.
Yeah.
It is, for us, I think it's really the land of dreams.
Was all of that, especially when you talk about sustainability and the World Cup, was that something that was really important to you when you took on the role of ambassador with the Supreme Committee?
Yes. We focus a lot on sustainability. We focus a lot on other things like the distance between stadiums, for example. When Qatar won the bid, some people criticized Qatar. It's a small country that never played the World Cup. Mm-hmm. But we both covered the World Cup. I was in Russia 18, in Brazil 2014, and also in South Africa 2010. Where we used to travel sometimes 2,000, 3,000 kilometers to cover one match. I remember in Brazil, we flew from Rio to Manaus, 6 hours by plane, and then coming back 6 hours by plane to cover one match, which was England-Italy. Mm-hmm. It was 45 degrees in Manaus, in the heart of the Amazon, to cover one match. So we flew almost like Doha, London, Doha, to cover one match. While here in Qatar, during this World Cup, everyone will stay in the same accommodation, which is, it's very important for the football players. While in other World Cups, they change 5 to 6 hotels in one tournament. Here, they will stay in the whole tournament in the same accommodation. Same for people, they will be able to watch 2+ games a day, which was impossible in any other World Cup. So I see huge benefits of having the World Cup in Qatar. Sustainability is for sure important, but a lot of other advantages.
What do you say to the doubters? You said people talk about the fact Qatar don't have the history. Maybe people, certainly globally, don't realise Qatar are the current Asian champions. What do you say to people who say it doesn't have the history, so therefore it hasn't earned the right?
Well, first of all, what a lot of people, especially in the West, don't know about Qatar's football history is that Qatar started football 1940. And our first league was 1962, which is almost the same year where Bundesliga started, which is today one of the top 4 football leagues. We played the final of the World Cup Youth in Australia 1981. And we won the Gulf Cup 92, and then lately we won the Asian Cup 2019, which is, as you know, the largest continent. So we have a history of football. The first official grass stadium was in Qatar, Doha Stadium, back in 60s. Pele came here, Muhammad Ali Clay came here. We have a rich, let's say, sports background. And what is important is we are passionate about football. Our leaders are in love with sport. Sheikh Tamim, our Amir, His Excellency, was a tennis player. I was privileged to play with him in the national team. And he was a serious professional tennis player. He went with us to America for summer camps, and he played with us the Gulf Cup in 1995. And we won the golden medal, and he won his match. So he's a real athlete. So coming from this background to the leadership, I think he brought a lot of sports background into his leadership style.
Worth me just breaking in for a second to say we have about an hour today, so we have about maybe 20 minutes or so left. So in about 5 minutes time, if you have any questions that you'd like to put to any of the members of our panel today, we'd love to hear them. Do get in touch, put them in the comments box on your screen right now. I suppose a natural way to bring this session to a close is to say, you know, what comes next, Mo, for you? You've done everything bar the North Pole, is it, of the Grand Slam? Would it be logical to think?
Like, when I set my targets at the beginning, it was 7 summits, Grand Slam. So the Grand Slam, I was supposed to finish...
7 summits is the 7 highest mountains in each continent. Yeah.
Yes, which I finished in 2016. And then after that, I wanted to do the Grand Slam, which is the 2 poles, the North and South Pole. I finished with the South Pole, pending the North Pole, which is postponed twice due to COVID. So you have to understand that it's middle of nowhere. To actually take resources over there, it's very costly and takes a lot of effort as well. So they canceled the past 2 seasons and actually 3 seasons. So no one went to the North Pole the past like 3 years now. So there's about I think 200 people in history who made that accomplishment, the Grand Slam. So hopefully I'll be among the...
When you think of the population of this planet,
Earth, yeah,
200 is a really...
200 people, yeah. I think there's one Arab who did it. Hopefully I can make it happen this April.
And then what happens?
Oh, life happens.
Unlock new potential.
What about you? Lulwa, what's next? Is there
More than next potential? We got to the moon.
خلاص. Sign me up.
Is there what's logically, when you've done an Ironman, where can you go? I mean, do you do an Ironman again and try and get faster? Or do you completely change?
Usually triathletes who do Ironman, they try to break their personal record.
Just by the way, are you a triathlete? Is that how you see yourself? Were you always a cyclist, a runner, a swimmer?
No, I never. I was preparing for a mountain, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'd never see myself as triathlete. But I love to be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next is before coming here, I was just finishing my training. I felt it was first time. I was debating whether to carry my flag or not, if I be honest. And it was my first time I choose to carry my flag to the finish line. And that feeling of responsibility again, and many people come to me and say, oh, I will be there for the football. Can I see you? Can we train there? I will always say they're welcome. But I realized something greater than just a sport is committing to something that greater than personal self-lifestyle. It's more society, it's small, it's country, it's national level. And I realized that Qatar are now taking triathlon serious, and I want to take like Qatar names into triathlon.
As a country, or do you mean specifically for young girls?
For young girls and for the sport of triathlon. I want to show, because we have a lot of men that are really good in triathlon, and I hope to be among them. I'm training so hard just to be among them. And I hope one day, my long-term vision is we take this small team or club and we take it to international level. We want to go to Kona. We want to compete in Paris 2024, which is in 3 years. For triathlon, we need enough years for us to improve our VO2 max.
So there's a comparison here with the football team with the World Cup and that. Is it enough to be there, or do you have to be there and be competitive?
We have to qualify within 1 year to then compete in 3 years. So we have 1 year to qualify.
You see the link I mean with the football, because is it enough that Qatar is here this time next year, or does Qatar, Felix Sanchez, current squad, do they have to be competitive?
I think they have to be competitive. It's not enough to play the World Cup because it's something you got it as a host country. And being Asia champion in 2019, so Qatar represents Asia, not only Qatar. Plus that it never happened that the host country left from the first round except South Africa in 2010. So we don't want to be the second country to host and leave from the group stage.
Of course.
I hope and I believe this team is able to reach second round. So for me as a Qatari citizen, minimum should be the second round. On a personal level, I divided my dreams into 3 parts, if you allow me. The entrepreneurship part, the media part, and the sport part. In the media part, I would love to continue what I'm doing because I'm really enjoying presenting TV shows, especially when it comes to football. In 2014, I was lucky to present the final between Argentina and Germany in Maracana. And I hope I will be the presenter of either the opening or the final match of the Qatar 22 World Cup. And what I also want to do is to share more of my media experience, either through teaching in university, like Qatar University, which I did 5-6 years ago, or maybe helping the country to establish a proper sports media center, which we don't have today. On the sports side, I would love to continue improving my level in paddle. Today I have a ranking of 136 worldwide 2 weeks ago. And my dream is to reach top 100, which is not easy at the age of 38. But I'll try my best to do it. And I want to inspire younger generations.
Do you still feel as fit as you did 10 years ago?
No, but the beauty of paddle is you can continue playing on a competitive level till mid-40s. So today in the top 20, there are 3 players above 40 years old, which also motivates me to continue training and playing tournaments. And also I'm building an academy here in Aspire, in my club, where we have today around 100 kids younger than 60, so 6 to 16 years old. And I hope this generation will be able to achieve better than what we did. I was happy to also be part of the team that qualified in Dubai to the World Cup, which Qatar hosted 2 weeks ago. So we are today in the top 16 countries in the world. I hope 3 to 4 years from now we can be one of the top 8 countries in the world. And then finally, in the entrepreneurship level, I would love to expand my businesses to other countries, and maybe in one day to have a listed company.
Plenty to aspire to. Just briefly, you said top 8 in the world for Qatar. For a country this size, that seems like it would be an incredible achievement. But do you think do you have enough young children coming through now playing the game? You see paddle courts all over the country. Is there a chance that paddle here becomes almost the same level as football? Do you have that level of interest?
Well, I think today the number of people playing paddle are more than the Qataris playing football.
Really?
Maybe they know, yeah.
I think so.
And in our database at Paddle, we have more than 13,000 people registered. So it shows the number of people. I think the number of people playing paddle today is more than 30,000 in Qatar. And the beauty is that paddle is the only sport in Qatar with Qataris being the majority. Unless in the other sports, including football, Qataris are minority. As you know, we are only 400,000 out of 2.5 million population. So I think it's possible to have a team that competes on the top 8, because we are already in the top 16, and the sport started only 4 years ago. And we are taking paddle so seriously. We go to Spain, we invite the best coaches and the best players from the world to come and train here. In January, we will have 3 of the top 20 doing their pre-season in our club here in Aspire. So I think it's possible. There are, of course, a lot of work to be done, but I think it's possible, inshallah.
Just before we take the questions from you at home, That's something I hadn't even thought of today, but it's unusual for the three of you to represent a country or to live in a country where you're not part of the majority. Is that something you have to take responsibility for, because it's not only being inspirational to young Qataris, but also to people who've chosen to make this home? So people look up to you from very different backgrounds.
I can speak about my personal experience in terms of mountaineering. I think from Qataris, of course, I find a lot of people find inspiration about climbing a mountain because everyone has a mountain inside of them, you know, whether it was a physical one or one that or something they would like to accomplish, and so many people find inspiration, and I think inspiration doesn't know any nationality, you know, it could be from anywhere, I really found no difference in terms of people from Qatar or none. Who I didn't find a person who doesn't get inspired by a great accomplishment.
How do you find that? Is it something that you have to be aware of, Lulwa? Do you a responsibility to everyone?
I think I would say it's not responsibility, more of inspiration. I want to show especially my national girls that, because I always train with international athletes. I always the only girl, Qatari girl, who run among like all international. But I do take videos and I show the girls that it is possible. You can reach international level. You just have to commit again to what you do and have passion. I have a long-term vision. I want to open like a club that includes triathlon for girls that has like cycling and running track next to each other. So the girl doesn't have to explore herself going outdoor. We have to respect our culture here too. We can respect our culture. We can represent our religion in a right way, because it's not interfering to each other. And I hope one day I can prove to young girls or any girls that look up to me that it's doable, it's manageable, and inshallah one day I'll be the hijabi girl among the podiums.
Fantastic. Let's just pause for a second, and I will just let's have a look at some of the questions that have come in for you from home. Let's have a look at this then. Saadon, as a national team player, how do you feel about the performance of the national team? I know you touched on this a moment ago in the paddle championships in Qatar. How far do you feel Qatar are now from competing with the best?
Well,
that's from Aziz, by the way.
1 week before the World Cup, we started the World Cup qualification in Dubai. And only a month before the World Cup, we knew that we have to go to the qualification, which was quite surprising because usually the host country goes to the main draw without playing a qualification. So we knew it, it was surprising, but we accepted it. And we went to play the qualification. In the qualification, we had some countries with longer and better and bigger experience than us, like Japan, like UAE, like Iran, and we were competing with them. We went there and it was a very tough qualification because it was a combined African and Asian qualification for only one spot. So it was very, very difficult for us. We played in the semi-final with UAE. Before that, we played with Iran and Senegal in the group stage. And then we were able to beat Japan in the final. In both semi-final and in the final, we lost the first match. And it's a match of 3 games. So we lost the first game against UAE. I played the second match. So I had a huge responsibility to do the remontada, to bring Qatar back. We won the second match, we won the third. Same happened exactly in the final. We lost the first match to Japan. I played the second match. I was able to win, so 1-1. And then we won the final match. So it was very difficult qualification. We finished the qualification on the 13th of November. We reached Doha 1 a.m. of 14th, and the World Cup started on the 15th. So we had only 1 day of practicing, and the biggest issue we had is that the World Cup was playing in Khalifa Stadium, which is outdoor paddle courts in Khalifa Tennis Complex. And 4 months before, we played everything indoor because the qualification in Dubai was in Nas Club in indoor. But overall, was a fantastic experience. And if you see the number of Qataris came to watch the Paddle World Cup, you'll be surprised. It was
Would
really,
they have
really
been
nice.
there had Qatar not been represented, if you hadn't qualified? Because that's
I think Qataris will also go to watch because they love paddle. They watch the World Paddle Tour, and having Argentina and Spain playing in Qatar was big because we had, let's say, the top 10 players playing here, which was really, really special. Like Belasteguin, the Argentinian who was 16 years the world champion, Juan Lebron, Ali Galan, the top 2 players in the world were here. So the best players were here, and Qataris are already, watching the World Paddle Tour, and they know the value of these players. So I think they will attend, even if Qatar didn't qualify to the World Cup.
Still an incredible achievement. Mo, Khalid Ali would like to know, talking about from a beginner's point of view, if he wants to get into mountain climbing, what would be the first one you would recommend?
Okay, good question.
Running above the bodies.
maybe not there. Maybe let's not start with Everest.
Yeah, no, definitely not. My personal favorite is Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is the perfect first mountain. It's a 7-day climb, 5 days up, 2 days down.
How high?
5,895.
So you can't start at 5,000 meters for your first mountain, surely.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. She started.
That was your first mountain?
During
Kilimanjaro.
Yes, during Kilimanjaro, you have 2 days to acclimatize, so you go up and down.
No, but it was your first mountain to climb. Yeah.
So you could genuinely. So if Khalid
with
wants
the
to do
right
this,
team, yes, you have to go with the guide, and you have to tell them that you're first timer. So you do more acclimatization where they take your body to a higher, but you sleep on less level.
Kilimanjaro has so many, it's one of the 7 summits of the world, highest in Africa, highest standalone mountain in the world, highest volcano on the world. It's a doormat, so it's not going to erupt.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good news. Yeah. Plus, you pass through 5 ecosystems going through the mountain. So you go from a forest to a savanna to moorlands to volcanic rocks to snow. And then what else? It's a short distance from here. So from Qatar, it's just a direct flight to Arusha. So you just fly on Qatar Airways direct. So
you're making this sound quite easy. I mean, how much preparation, how much training?
Yeah, of course, it's going to be the hardest thing he'll do in his life, but it'll be the best first mountain to do. It will take you out of your comfort zone. It's a camping mountain, so you'll sleep in tents. Tell him he should join my next trip.
That'd be one way to do it.
I actually do. I do something I enjoy a lot. I do once a year. I go to either Kilimanjaro or Everest Base Camp, and I take a group from all over the world.
Is that the Rise to Success?
Rise to Success, exactly.
There you go, Khalid, you have an invitation. I'd take him up if I was you. Right, Lulwa, as a woman in Qatar, how do you see the path for women in sport changing? Where would you like to see it go?
I do see it changing, and I do see it going international, inshallah, bidnillah. But we need to work together as like a team. Start now, start running, like as simple as running 5K, swimming. We have in Qatar Foundation, we have ladies only classes, and also Inspire Aqua Center, they have ladies only timing. So start slow, start now, and inshallah, like when you are ready, I don't know, there's no Qatar Girls Club only for triathlon, but I hope we can accomplish this.
Is the first step the hardest? Literally, almost, if you like, getting up off the settee,
yes, because,
even when you've done nothing before?
Yes, because you don't have friends. You're usually like you call on friends like, let's go for a run. I don't have like a friend that I can say, let's go for a run, or I want to cycle, let's go for cycling. I had to do it solo.
Would you want to? I like to run, and I would not in any way want to run with someone else. That's
But it's
my
better
time,
in group.
Really?
It's more fun because we can pace each other. Like and also she can break the wind for me. So if you
okay.
Yes, it's.
But you don't want someone to talk to you when you're running. You don't want someone to be having a conversation, do you?
No, sometimes you have training where it is on zone 2. It's conversational run. So you should be allowed to sing, or talk, let's say, while running. You shouldn't be running out of breath.
Am I on my own here? If you're training, do you like someone
I
with
agree
you?
with her. For me, it's more exciting when you run with someone and you talk, the time passes quickly and it's more interesting. While when you are alone, sometimes you get lazy or you just want to stop or you feel bored. So
they can keep you accountable. They can say, why you're not running today?
Exactly. I prefer training and running in a group.
I think
it's more
you just saw me and my friend outside having this conversation about like a challenge today, you know? So it's like like you have challenges and we push each other to do better.
Okay, so listen to them, not to me. It's clearly it's something to do. Maybe that's why I've never climbed a mountain. What about this? This is from Hamad to you all. Do you ever feel the negative pressure of being in the public eye? Have you ever considered having to step away from social media? Do you ever get any negativity?
I can start?
Sure.
Or where to start? When I first started climbing in 2009, I was the crazy one. You know, like why would anyone go climb a mountain? You know, what you're trying to prove, what you're trying to do. Like, people just didn't get it. Like, didn't get what I was trying to do. And you just have to focus. I'm not sure. I'm sure everyone can relate with this. But sometimes when you're up to something, especially if you're the first, people do not understand what you're trying to do, and until it's done, and then, you know, and then inspiration starts. You know, then the accomplishment begins.
So do you find now what you get in terms of social media?
I've been called everything. I've been called everything you can imagine.
Really?
Yeah. But like in social media or like face to face. Like
it's worse social media though, yeah. I mean, it must be.
I think face to face is a bit worse, especially if you know the person.
Oh yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah. I think people call me a bit crazy. I think that's okay, but it comes with a package, you know, climbing mountains. But like why do you do it, or what, you know, like or the reason to do it, or but then like after some time, I really enjoy it. Like the mountains is my element. You know, when I'm on the mountain, like I'm the happiest there is. I was just telling my family like that. Do you know, like I showed a picture of the last mountain I climbed, which is Amadablam. My tent was like sideways, and there's no way to sleep, and it was like, if you look at it, you're like, why on earth would anyone go there? And I would
especially now you have a family, you know, and all those things.
But I would have the best sleep of my life there.
Really?
I would sleep like a baby. Yeah.
Did it change? You were married with children now, yeah? Did that change your attitude, or did it make you?
No, I started climbing when I had kids.
Really?
Yeah.
So no feeling of responsibility.
See, he's one of them. Actually, let me say this. Like we had, me and Muhammad, we know each other for years. We always had this conversation, you know. Like he's like, why would you go to a mountain? Why would you do that? And you know, him being the presenter comes out, you know. Like, yeah, but I always enjoy that.
Do you get a lot of negative social media reaction? I always find, I don't know if this is for you. Do you ever publicly out yourself as a fan of a particular team, or do you keep that quiet?
I think most of people know that I am a Barcelona fan, but most of them accept it because I think when I present, I'm neutral, and I did a lot of Clásicos, and even the Madrid fan were happy because really when I jump to the studio, I leave my emotions aside, and being an athlete helps also to perform in a better way as a presenter, where you know, this is sport, this is a game that will end it either with one winner or with a draw, and in the end of the day you have to also show a good example, because the way people started to support European teams in the Arab world is negative. If you see people fighting during a Clásico, for example, you will be shocked. You will not see it in Spain, but you will see it in Egypt or Sudan or Tunisia or Qatar or Saudi. So maybe in the beginning of the social media, when I started, I think was 2010, you start to become more maybe sensitive in the beginning, and then you get used to it, because before that, it was, media was more of one-way communication, where you communicate your message, your news, your shows, but you don't feel the reaction. But the social media was more of two-ways communication. But with the time, you have to understand that everyone has his background, his mentality, his way of communication, and you start to accept everything.
Do you ever get any negativity? Yes. Do you really?
Yes.
And
as a woman, you get it's expectation.
Like condescending?
No, it's expectation. They have certain expectation for women. She have to be in this box. So when you get out of the box, doing something abnormal to them, of course you will get calls, bad names, saying things bad about me, even talk bad about my family. But I think it's normal. Everyone has their own opinion, and I just want to be responsible for my own action. I don't want to say that they're all the same. All women should do sport, not take care of family, should go climb mountains. No, you have to find your balance, and that comes with responsibility. That you have to show them that you can balance, because I always get things like ما عندها حياة, يعني she doesn't have life, she doesn't do anything, she's a rich girl, she doesn't have to work, she can run for 5 hours. But all of this is their perception to the sport. It's not how I see the sport. I see sport where it balances my stress. If I'm stressful, I do this. It's not the one way or another. Also, I hope one day I can change how they see women in sport, and to prove them that you can still in line with your culture and your religion and still be in a sport.
I suppose that's a bit like the question I asked you earlier, is whether the name and the family is a help or a hindrance. Do people think because you come from the royal background?
Yeah, I can tell you an example once. I was in an interview in a magazine a while back, and then the interviewer told me, like, do you know like what people say about you? I'm like, what do they say? Like, they say because you're a sheikh, that's why it's easier for you to climb a mountain. I'm like,
the mountain will not be a
for someone from that's exactly what happens. People come behind me like, Sheikh, let me carry your bag. Sheikh, let me give you the water. And then she starts laughing. I'm like, what's funny? She was like, yeah, now I realize my question. I'm like, no one cares. You know who you are.
Where does the privilege start and where does it end? Because presumably there are some advantages, but there's got to be a point when it's just you v the mountain.
Of course, at the end of the day, your 2 legs are going to take you up that mountain. If you can't climb that mountain using your own 2 legs, you can't climb, no matter how much money you have in your life. And that's why so many CEOs, business leaders climb Everest, is because they want to have that accomplishment, what they can do. And it doesn't matter. Okay, money buys you comfort. Like some CEOs, you can see like, but you can fly into base camp with a helicopter. Okay, but if you do that when you're not acclimatized, you'll be flown back within 5 minutes because you need to acclimatize. So you need to actually walk to base camp, and you need to take the 2 weeks, and then you need to climb from base camp to the summit, and that takes you 2 months as well.
Wow. So actually, this is a question from Grace, which is along those lines. She says that you mentioned earlier that it almost strips you of everything in life when you're on a mountain, and asking, what did that teach you about yourself? Which I suppose is quite relevant to that.
Yeah. Actually, good question. I have it written down. I have seven lessons I learned from mountaineering. First of all, find your purpose. We all need to find that purpose. So what do you have to do in life? And then follow to the passion. And then belief. You have to really believe in what you do. If you don't believe in what you do, then just don't do it. Persistence. You just have to keep doing it again, no matter how many times you fail. Appreciation. You appreciate every little thing in life. Water, the bed you sleep in. Actually, for here, the heat, when you're at minus 50 or minus 40.
Which do you prefer, the extreme heat or the extreme cold?
I don't know. Like I'm more in the cold.
Really?
When I'm in the cold, I like the heat, and when I'm in the heat, it's like I'm indecisive. Finally, but certainly not least, humility. Teaches you how to appreciate how to be humble, because like in the mountain, the guy that saved your life would probably save your life and walk away, and not even like mention it. You know, like, and it happened to me. Like where someone just would do something I would like not even imagine, and then just do it and just walk away, because they're not waiting for a thank you, they're not waiting, because they're doing it human to human.
Have you been close? I mean, genuinely close to thinking you were close to death?
Maybe yeah, a few times usually, like usually after the summit, because like when you go up, you're very focused on going up. Going down, that's when all the problems happen. Like
Really?
I have asthma, sports-induced asthma. So, and I picked mountaineering as a sport, you know. So I don't think they work very well together.
Yeah, it wasn't the most logical choice.
But so sometimes my asthma gets triggered on the mountain. That causes pulmonary edema. And it's not fun. So sometimes, like some nights, I'd sleep at night and thinking, will I wake up or not?
Is it true when you think that you are close to death? Does your life pass before your eyes? Is that true, or is that a myth?
I don't know. Alhamdulillah, I haven't been there yet.
Never that close.
Not that close yet, no. But like,
hallucinating him.
I would like I would like have it like pulmonary edema. Like I had it twice already. Where I would sleep and I just can't breathe, and I'd be sleeping. I'm like, okay, if I sleep and don't wake up, I just have to be okay with it. And
would you be okay with it? Not that anyone wants to die, but
so.
Do you think everything you've achieved to this point, you could say, I'm satisfied?
I'm not chasing death, but I think you just have to make peace with it. You know, it's part of life, but it doesn't mean I'm chasing it. Yeah. But with any sport, I think it happens. You know, like I don't do very risky mountains. I'm not climbing K2, which is like 1 in 4 people die.
Do you want to?
No, never, never. But at the same time, like risk happens with any sport. You know, you can ask a Formula 1 driver the same question, or you can ask, like. Yeah.
So you wouldn't describe yourself as an adrenaline junkie?
No, actually, there's no adrenaline in the mountains. It's just survival. You don't get that adrenaline rush like jumping off a plane. Have you jumped off a plane? Or?
No, never.
Okay.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, like jumping off a plane gives you that rush, you know, like but like climbing a mountain is just pain, you know.
Have you jumped out of a plane? You're asking me like that's a totally normal thing to do.
I think most people jumped off a plane.
Have you jumped out of a plane?
No.
Yeah, okay, so we're looking at 50-50 here.
Yeah, but I think that like in the mountain, like all what goes in your head is like, why am I here? Yeah. You know, like why am I doing this again to myself?
It's finding your purpose and finding your why.
Is there an equivalent? Grace was asking Mo about being stripped of everything by climbing a mountain. Is there a point when you're training for an Ironman where you feel like literally everything's been taken away from you because you've put so much into it?
Yes, of course. Your coach is not your friends will not be there with you. You don't have your coach telling you what to do exactly. You have to trust yourself to carry yourself to the finish line. And it's so quiet. You spend hours by yourself. You're questioning yourself, why do I do this to myself? What's the purpose? Because most of the girls say, Lulu, like, why? If you want to lose weight, just go to classes, you'll lose weight. It's not. It's more than just losing weight. It's more than just being healthy. Also, triathlon is not as healthy as it seems like, because you can injure yourself. Mm-hmm. You put your joints under a lot of stress, a lot of mileage.
Just in the running.
All of them.
Really?
Yes.
Even in the water.
Even in the water, you have to kick. But you save your legs. You use your arms more. So you save yourself for cycling and running. But the purpose of triathlon is finding your purpose, finding your why, and try to prove to world population 1% are Ironman. So being that 1% is a privilege, it's luxury, that you have your legs that can run this mileage, you have your arms that can carry you, lung that can keep up with your endurance. So I see it as a luxury and I see it as a privilege. But this is for Ironman. For triathlon, it's a shorter distance, so you test your athletic skills. But while doing Ironman, I see, because many people say, why don't you just stick with triathlon? Why Ironman? I think the Ironman is to unlock your limit, because I always see I'm a short distance. I can never run beyond this. So when I tried to run, even when I was training, I never run. It was so terrified, the idea of if I will finish it or not. But take step by step, just like mountain, you climb step by step, and you'll end up there eventually. As long as you have a strong mentality, you will cross that finish line.
Speaking of finishing, I know we've gone over time, so I'll try and wrap this up so you can get away, because we do appreciate your time today. Saadon, one of the questions here comes from Rita. She says, as one of the most followed Qataris on social media, what do you want your legacy to be? I suppose it's similar to that idea of, would we be happy if the end was to come? What are you a TV presenter? Are you a sportsman, entrepreneur? What does the legacy hold for you eventually?
I'm trying to be a fruit salad. Well, I like to be successful. As I told you earlier, I'd love to give a good example, especially for my kids. I have 3 boys. They play paddle. One of them is really talented. And yesterday I was asking him a question, what's your dream? Do you think you can be in the top 100? He said, no, it's very difficult. I said, don't say this. I said, you have to be in the top 20. This is what I tried to convince him to do, because when I was playing tennis, my dream was to be in the top 100 tennis. And I was never in the top 100. I was in the top 200, but junior, under 18. So for me, paddle is a magic, because I started playing paddle when I was 34 years old. And this was maybe 10 years or 12 years after stopping playing tennis professionally.
Just for anyone who has never played both, how similar are the two sports?
Well, when it comes to, so you have a net, and it's doubles, 2 against 2 in paddle, while in tennis you have singles and doubles. In paddle it's only doubles. And then the biggest problem all tennis players face when they move to paddle is playing after the glass, which is very, very difficult. It took me 2 years to learn how to hit the ball after coming from the glass, because tennis players used to receive the ball and hit it back, and the contact point is clear, is always from that way to this way, while in paddle sometimes it's the opposite. The ball is coming from behind to front. So,
had you ever played squash before?
Very few times, because in the tennis complex we have tennis and squash. So I played squash, but it was easier than hitting the ball after the glass in paddle. So it's a bit difficult, but the advantage of tennis player, especially the attacking tennis player, my style of playing tennis, I was servant volleyer. So the servant volleyers usually are good at paddle and tennis, and they are better in paddle, because most of points finish at the net. So dominating the net for the paddle team is always the positive part, because volley and smash usually is the way how to finish and win the point. So it helped me a lot to be a good, not bad paddle player. So again, giving a good example for my kids, for young generation, is in my country and in this region. This is my main aim.
That's the legacy. It's what you can give to your children.
Yes. So I want to continue doing what I'm doing in the best way, but also to shift and to gradually try to share my experiences in sport, in entrepreneurship, and in media to other generations, which I am doing in the past 10 years, and which I want to do more and more in the coming 10 years, inshallah.
That's probably quite a good way to finish it. What about you, Lulwa? Are you thinking of legacy? Are you bothered how people perceive you?
I always have this picture that I'm surrounded by Qatari girls, and we are, inshallah, racing at an international level. That would be the dream? Yes. I want to take these girls to international. I want to see them competing in all countries, raising flags. I think they can do, and I really believe. I believe in this, and I hope one day I have a daughter that I can take her into a professional triathlon. Why not a son? No, because a son and a daughter. No, a son. Maybe he want to be a paddle. Maybe he's more than welcome. But the girl, no, I will make her triathlon.
Notice she said paddle, not mountain climber.
Do you know that's a good way to actually to end this?
I started my Ironman for mountain, and I really realized they're so linked together.
Yeah,
All
most
sports.
of my friends who climb with me also do Ironmans.
How would you all fare if you had to cross over into each other's sports, pastimes? Which do you think would be the most difficult to cross into?
All of them. I'm serious. I
Football.
cannot do what either of them do.
It seems incredible to say you've climbed Mount Everest, but you wouldn't want to do a triathlon or sit in a TV studio.
It's too much work.
Too much pressure.
Yeah, like for myself, I do enjoy bike rides. I enjoy running, but it's a commitment. To do a full Ironman is a long-term thing, and for paddle, like for myself, I can speak. I'm too competitive. I hate losing. I'm worried if I start, then I'll stop everything else, and I just keep I see how people play paddle, and I'll stay away because I know how competitive I get. I'm
starting to see the next challenge.
Yeah, no.
What about for you two? Which of the other three of us today? Which would you find the most difficult? Climbing a mountain?
I'm still chasing the dream of Everest.
Do you think you'll do that one day?
Yes, I will.
What about you, Saadon?
For me, climbing mountains is impossible. It's very difficult.
Not
for me.
Kilimanjaro?
Not even.
Not even?
I think it's very difficult, and I don't think
Maybe
I
we
will
could do it together
one
after
day.
the World Cup. Once that high
we
is
go
gone,
with
different
the-
high.
But Ironman, I think, is something that motivates me. Maybe one day. I like running, but I didn't do very, very long distance. I think the longest distance was 20K that I did. I'm bad in swimming, and I'm not bad in cycling.
When you say bad, how bad?
Very bad, really. I mean, I can swim, but impossible to swim 3 hours, mashallah. Yani. I think maximum I can do is maybe 10-15 minutes, but I need to train for sure. But I think Ironman motivates me because it improves the skills, it improves the mentality, being, patient about finishing and crossing this finish line is something I would love to do one day.
I see the next set of challenges for everyone. We've gone way over, everyone. So from myself and from everyone at the speaker series, can I just say thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for all the questions. We've got through most. So we'll do another one of these early in the new year. But for now, thank you everyone for being involved.